אם יש להם אז שיתנו לי, אם לא אז בסדר.
Welcome everybody to the club today. My name is Isabel Reynolds. I'm a member of the PAC committee that organizes our press events here. I'm happy to welcome and grateful to Ambassador Gilad Cohen. He has graciously agreed to join us at short notice, given the shocking events in Israel recently. He has been ambassador in Tokyo for 2 years, but I don't want to spend too much time on introductions. He has a presentation of about 20 minutes, and then we'll move on to questions and answers. Please, everyone, make sure that you have your mobile phones switched to silent mode. Thank you very much. Ambassador.
Thank you, Isabel-san. Thank you for having me today. We are at war that was imposed on us and waged on us by Hamas terrorist organization. This Saturday, the holy day of Israel, thank you, the day that we wanted to celebrate our freedom, our happiness, peace, we were brutally attacked by Hamas terrorist organizations from Gaza, firing at us, infiltrating in many points, assassinating men, women, children, old people in their sleep, in their beds, taking them out from their houses and executed them, raping women and children, slaughtering cows and dogs even. You will see some disturbing pictures which I will present to you shortly. But this horror is worse than ISIS. Something I think the modern world has never seen, this kind of brutality. Massacre of Jews, of Israelis, only because they are Jews or Israelis. That's the only reason. By now we have 1,200 murdered Israelis, 3,000 injured and more. Over 5,000 rockets have been launched to Israel. Now, what I'm going to talk about is about Gaza and Hamas, the Israeli humanitarian efforts before the Hamas terrorist attack. I'll summarize and we'll open it for questions and answers, and I'll try to be brief. Now, I hope you can see, maybe I'll do it for here, it will be better. Ido, this is Israel. Gaza is here, down there. Lebanon up there. We have the fire I will show you shortly came from Gaza, and we are calling to Hezbollah and to Iran not to open another front from the north. We do have peace agreements with Egypt and Jordan. We are talking with Saudi Arabia about possible peace agreement. Also United Arab Emirates, Bahrain and others. But now is the time, unfortunately, for war, not for peace, so we'll talk about peace later. Voilà. Now this is Gaza Strip that launched the terrorist attacks against us. Voilà. What is Hamas? This is when our missiles, it's a terrorist organization, brutal one, getting its support, its money, its aid, its instruction and training from Iran. Them and Islamic Jihad and the Hezbollah are terrorist organizations. There is no other definition to it. And yesterday you saw the Japanese statement, the Japanese government statement, calling them as a terrorist organization, standing by Israel and saying that Israel has the right of self-defense, that we have the right to defend ourselves against this terrorist vicious act. I'm not going to go into all the frame of Hamas because it's a very, you can see, we will send you also the presentation afterwards. They are a very, very established terror organization with branches abroad. with support from Iran, with connections to some countries, including Iran and others, headed by Yahya Sinwar, who was released in the Gilad Shalit deal. Again, they are murderers, just cold-blooded murderers. Allah. Now, in 2007 and 2006, Israel has left Gaza. We evacuated Gaza unconditionally and gave the keys to Palestinian Authority in order for Gaza to thrive, in order for Gaza to live in peace, side by side, with no Israelis there. No military camps, no anything, nowhere. Nobody, no Jews there living there. Okay, let's live free and let's live side by side. What we got in return is coup d'etat. Hamas in 2007 are taking over Gaza and killing, pushing from the roofs. PA, Palestinian Authority, officials, police, and then taking over. Since then, several campaigns have been waged on Israel of war instead of building Gaza. And we provided them electricity and gas and food and medicine. And we called to the international community to invest in Gaza before and also during, even though they took over. And we really tried to have Gaza as a peaceful place, to have an export from there, to have seaport and airport. And we got Palestinian workers from Gaza because we wanted their economy to thrive. We wanted their economy to be good. And in return, we got hundreds of thousands of missiles against Israel. That's what we got in return. We gave them electricity and we gave them metal and we gave them supply. They took it instead of giving it to the Palestinian people in Gaza. They transferred it to missiles and weapons against Israel. They transferred our goodwill of Israel into war elements, into weapons against Israel. Now, this is the humanitarian efforts that we did. I spoke about even the eve before the attack. 14,000 workers came from Gaza. There are supply that we gave, water, electricity, humanitarian assistance, even gas reservoir. It's called Gaza Marine in the economic water of Gaza. We wanted them to have the gas. We wanted them to have electricity, to be sufficient enough and to take care of their citizens. But this terrorist organization did not want to take care of their citizens. They just want to kill Jews and Israelis. And their ideology is not to have peace. It's nothing about political. I want you to differentiate between the Palestinians, the ordinary Palestinians, West Bank and others that they do not want to fight with Israel, and the Hamas, which ideology of the Hamas, the Islamic Brotherhood, is that the Jews are, for them, are monkeys and pigs. They are distorting Islam values, even. They are saying that all the territory of Israel is Waqf territory under the Sharia rule, and the Sharia and Hamas state will be controlling everything. The Jews have no rights to live there. It's not, you have to understand, it's not about political solution. There is no political solution with Israel. Only blood, only bus explosions, only murdering, raping, burning, and killing and executing. There was a party of youngsters that just want to dance there in the nature. They came there and slaughtered almost 300 youngsters. They just executed them and then burned their bodies and raped the young girls there. That's what they do. You have to understand that's crimes, not war crimes, crimes against humanity. These are things that you cannot even imagine. And still happening now with our kidnapped families. They are torturing them now. They are raping them now, raping children and women now in Gaza. This is what they are doing right now for our kidnapped families and daughters and boys and old women, 85 years old, Holocaust survivors, committing another Holocaust today. Now, that's the penetration, penetrating Israel, bombing our cities, They started the war on Saturday.
Allahu Akbar!
That's what they do. This is their target, to fire at civilians, to kill innocent people, to have people in shelters, to burn our cities. People are talking about human rights. What about our human rights? The Israelis don't have human rights. We can't live in free. We can't live to raise our families with no wars. Only human rights of the Palestinians. These are the attacks carried out by Hamas from Saturday, and they continue to fire from Gaza. You see all this area and even up north. You can see ISIS flags that were left in our kibbutzim. When I'm saying that Hamas equals to ISIS, you can even see the evidence for it. And you know what? They do much worse than ISIS. And you know what ISIS is for Japan. You can see pictures of old people and young people just being slaughtered, executed. They shot at the houses. They went, my wife is from kibbutz Nachal Oz. I was married there. My kids used to play there when they were young. They entered the kibbutz and they went house after house and they executed the people there. Executed them. And when people went into shelters, they fired and they tried to pick them up, to take them out. And when they couldn't take them up, they burned the houses in order for the smoke to make them run away, and then they executed them. You can see kidnapping of civilians. These kids, 2 years old, few months old. This woman, I'm sorry that I have to tell it to you. I'm sorry. But you can see the blood stains here. You know why? Because this young girl who just wanted to celebrate in a party was raped by them, by these savages. These are babies. All of them were murdered. Just murdered. This old lady, 85 years old, was kidnapped to Gaza. You can see in the beds, they shot them. Houses were bombarded. Cars, everything was destroyed. Just destroyed, looted. They came and looted things from the houses and burned them. You can see bodies here. Bodies of small children, innocent people. Cutting heads of people, beheading them. violating bodies. Look what they do to their body. Look, children, infant, few months, they killed him in his bed. They burned, this is bodies of infants. Cut the heads of infants. What kind of a people does it? These are animals, worse than animals. Look at this, look at what they did. What can infant do to you? Savages. Allah. Now, there are international condemnations. I want to commend President Biden and the US administration. Secretary Blinken was just in Israel, and Secretary of Defense Austin is coming today to Israel. United States and the international community stands by Israel because we are going to fight the fight of the international community against terrorism. Because if we surrender now, it will come to the doorstep of Japan and Australia and Europe. Because terrorists all over the world will understand that they can go with it. And I want to commend and thank the United States for their stand and the other international community, including Japan, for solidarity with Israel, for saying this is terrorism. It's worse than terrorism. It's barbarism that you cannot even imagine. And Japan saying, and I hope that Japan will continue to stand by us at the Security Council and bilaterally, and acknowledge the right to defend ourselves, as Japan has the right to defend itself against terrorism, as the international community should defend itself. These are some of the demonstrations around the world, the Empire State Building, the Brandenburg Bridge, there is Eiffel Tower and others, of showing solidarity with Israel. And I hope also in Japan we saw solidarity in Shibuya Square and other places, in Osaka and Kyoto, of people standing by us in our most difficult time. This is for us our 9/11. But I want to make one thing clear. We are going to win this war. We are going to win this war because we don't have any other choice. We will not tolerate ongoing threats of Hamas, terrorism, killing, firing upon us. No nation would accept it. Japan and your nations would not accept being fired every time, being kidnapped, being raped and slaughtered and burned. You will not accept it. And you shouldn't accept slaughtering of kids in a party. You shouldn't accept it, and we will not accept it, or invading the territories of Japan. You will not accept it, and we will stand by you if, God forbid, it happens. And we expect the international community to stand by us. As Hamas is ISIS, ISIS is Hamas. It's the same. And as the international community treated ISIS, it should treat Hamas. Now, in summary, I just want to say that Hamas has started the war, and we were violated, and we will protect our people and exercise our right to defend ourselves. We are not seeing the residents of Gaza Strip as our enemies. Hamas is our enemy. Hamas is our enemy and will pay the price of what he did to us. We also call to Iran and the Hezbollah, as President Biden said, don't do it, don't interfere. And we call the international community to call for immediate release of our kidnapped children and men and women and soldiers, immediately. There are people, and as other international citizens who are without medicines, without food, without things that they need, without access. We don't know. I got a phone call yesterday from a mother. She doesn't know if her daughter is dead or kidnapped or what. She doesn't know. Iran, President of Iran was praising, saying, I want to kiss your hands, of Hamas and Islamic Jihad. Praising this. This is an act of heroism, to murder innocent children and to rape women This is the leader of Iran saying. What kind of a leader of a nation, of a member of the United Nations can call for this kind of acts? And I'm telling you, if Hezbollah is going to attack, the retaliation is going to be very, very severe and lethal to Hezbollah in Lebanon. And they know it. So I expect them not to intervene. I will conclude and open it for questions. Just, you know, I'm sorry that I'm very emotional, but I think it speaks for itself. But I have to say to you that I expect the coverage, I'm talking to the media, to be fair with Israel. Think of what would you do if you were on our stands, how you can absorb it. Unfortunately, yesterday I saw in TBS News, which I respect this TV, they are interviewing the daughter of Shinegabu, the murderer who assassinated Israelis 50 years ago. Her daughter was a commentator here in Japanese TV. What is this? What is this? Her mother was very proud of assassinating 25 or 27 Israelis 50 years ago in Ben Gurion Airport, if you remember it, with Kozo Okamoto. Very proud of it. After she was released from prison last year. And her daughter now is praising what's happening. So what is the message? What is the message for Japan? It is okay to assassinate citizens. It is okay to assassinate this week in Israel and 50 years ago in Ben Gurion Airport to shoot at innocent people. And now she's given the ground and the floor to speak and to say, this is okay in Japanese TV. This is appalling, and I'm very, very sorry that I saw this kind of, but I do think that Japan, as a nation, stands by Israel with our liberal values and democracy and human rights, and protecting and defending our people should stand by us and not allow to this family of murderers and terrorists to give the floor to speak against us and our human values. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Right, we'll go to questions. If I could start with questions from the floor first. Please raise your hand if you have something to ask. Karen.
Thanks very much for this press conference. My name is Karine Nishimura. I'm correspondent for Radio France as well as Libération newspaper. I have three short questions. On his first reaction, Japanese Prime Minister did not use the word terror, terrorist, or terrorism. It took almost six days for the Cabinet Secretary Matsuno to say terror attack. And the Japanese opposition party, Constitutional Democratic Party of Japan chief, did not even mention Hamas on comment on October 10. Japanese media did not use the word terrorism. How do you explain that? Second question, very short. There are also foreign hostages taken by Hamas. For example, 17 French people are missing. How can you act to save them? And how can you avoid to kill many civilians in the Gaza Strip? Thanks so much.
Thank you very much for your question. The Foreign Ministry announcement of yesterday, I met Okano-san, Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs, mentioned terrorism, mentioned the right of Israel to defend itself, and said that Japan stands by us. Indeed, I expect from Japanese government and media and everybody to say exactly the words, it's terrorism. Terrorism is terrorism. It's what happened with Marseille, in other places in France, with ISIS. It's the same thing, even worse now. And it's terrorism. And I think that it should be right, and your question should be addressed, of course, to you told me about, I cannot talk on behalf of Japanese press or behalf of the Japanese government, but I think the statement, there was also a phone conversation between Minister of Foreign Affairs Kamikawa-san and Minister Cohen, Minister of Foreign Affairs yesterday night, which she reiterated the stand of Japan, saying it's terrorism and saying that Israel has the right to defend itself. Now, regarding to the foreign citizens, yes, indeed, there are foreign citizens being held in Gaza. This was also the intention of Hamas. And we call, of course, and we hope that the world also will put its pressure in order to release all of them. And of course, there are Israelis and the other, but all of them were kidnapped, and all of them should be treated equally in order to be released and to be protected. So this is what I have to say about Israeli citizens. There are also Israeli citizens, foreign citizens, inside Israel, and we are working with foreign governors in order, if they want to evacuate their people, to do so, and we will treat the foreign citizens in Israel exactly as we are treating our citizens, to protect them, to save them, and to keep them safe. Thank you.
The last question about the civilian in Gaza. How can you avoid to kill many?
Okay, sorry. Yeah, it's about, let's talk about civilians in Gaza. Again, I said, they are not our enemy. The problem is that the Hamas is using them as human shields. Hamas wants them to be killed. The Hamas goes into schools, into mosques, into UNRWA hospitals and facilities in order and to have the children as human shields. You know, my good friend, Ambassador of the United States in Japan, Rahm Emanuel, said there are countries who use, or those who use their missiles to protect children, and there are those who use their children to protect their missiles. And this is the Hamas. Now, we called to people to evacuate their homes because we are going to attack. We know that there is Hamas headquarters there. You know what Hamas did by Minister of Interior in Gaza? Told them, don't listen to the Israelis. Stay in the home. They want us to bomb and they want us to kill their civilians. They don't care about their civilians. They don't care about their civilians. They want us to be hit. You know what? You know why? Because they want the international community to pressure Israel, saying that we are doing things that are not okay or by hurting civilians. We do not want to see any civilian killed. For us, every child dead in Gaza is a tragedy. It's a tragedy for us. Every woman or every man that are uninvolved, we do not want to hit them. This is not our enemy. The enemy is Hamas. And Hamas and the Islamic Jihad will pay this price. Gaza should be free of this tyranny, of these murderers of Hamas, for their sake, for the Palestinians' sake, and for Israel's sake and for the world's sake. We should be out of Hamas, like we should be out of ISIS and Daesh before. ISIS and Al-Qaeda. That's the same things. Same thing. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Next question.
Nishimura with freelance. Thank you very much. And the government of Japan has responded to this issue, like standing by Israel and accusing the terrorism and reaching to both to Israel and Palestinian, not Hamas. So, but Japan has not joined the statements of 5 countries of group of 7 Western countries, but Japan is the chair country of G7 this year. Are you satisfied with this response of Japan to this issue, and what did you expect to Japan? And second short question. What is the purpose of the operation against Gaza by Israel? When this operation will be ended in the plan for so far? Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question. Of course, I would have been more satisfied if Japan would have joined this good statement before. But now there is the statement of Japan, which goes along with, I think, the basic fundamental principles as we see them together. And we hope that Japan will stand by us in the future, because it's going to be hard. It's going to be war. It will take time. Japan is a nation, friendly nation of Israel. And again, I thank the Japanese government for their statement now. At the Security Council, standing by the free world to defend the values not only of Israel and our civilians, your values, Japanese values, US values, UK, Europe, Germany, others, Australia, India, all of the world, Brazil and others, saying stop to terrorism, no room for terrorism. About of course, when you go to war, you have to have some campus where you want to reach. Israel goes to war now. That was waged by Hamas. And what we want is, of course, we want to eliminate the military power of Hamas and Islamic Jihad, that Gaza will be free of them, free for the Palestinians, and of course also, first and foremost, for us, to be free of terrorism. We want to release our kidnapped people, and we want to live in peace. This is what Israel wants. You know, once Golda Meir said, if the Arabs will lay down their weapons, there will be peace. If Israel will lay down its weapons, we are going to be exterminated. That's the difference. And this is not the same ground. This is a state, democratic state, which wants to live in peace and security, and a vicious terrorist organization. That's the difference. It's like Japan and ISIS. You cannot compare between a country that wants to protect its citizens and live in freedom and prosperity and contributing to the world, and murderers like ISIS. That's the same thing. So these are the purposes of our war now. It's not an operation. All right? It's not an operation. There were several operations in the past. No longer. We left Gaza for peace. We want them to live in peace. What we got is several campaigns of attacks against us. And now, this one, on Saturday, this is going to be the last one for them. The last one of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next? Gabriele?
My name is Gabriele Ninivaggi. I'm a reporter at the Japan Times. Thanks for this opportunity. I have a question about Israel's rapprochement with Saudi Arabia. I guess Israel's been working towards a peace agreement with Saudi Arabia. You mentioned it earlier. You said it's time for war, not for peace now, earlier. So I was wondering how the current situation in Israel and Gaza is going to affect your attempts to negotiate a peace with Saudi Arabia. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for your question. Indeed, Israel, which always wanted peace, even with the Palestinians, has engaged in the Abraham Accords, peace with Bahrain and Morocco and United Arab Emirates. And of course, we have the very good peace agreements with Jordan and Egypt. We would like to maintain all of the peace agreements and to make sure, by the way, if you ask I believe if you asked these countries that I mentioned and others, what do they think about Hamas? It's interesting what they will tell you. We would like to continue with Saudi Arabia now, but now it's the time for war. It's a time when we have to engage in war. So unfortunately, I believe that the peace talks with the Saudis are a bit, let's say, aside now. We also formed a unity government in Israel. But there is a will of Israel to have peace in the Middle East at the end. But the time for peace, I hope, will come soon. Now it's time for war. I hope it will not jeopardize these efforts in the future to maintain solid peace with Saudi Arabia and other Arab states and Muslim states out of the region. Thank you.
Thank you. Gentleman in the front.
Seth Robson from Stars and Stripes. You mentioned that you're comparing Hamas to the Islamic State, and I was just wondering if you think there's any lessons to be learned with, in terms of the operation to remove the Islamic State from places like Iraq and Syria, they controlled major population centres, Mosul, for example, and the coalition and the Iraqis were able to, liberate those areas. I mean, are you talking to those guys? Are you trying to draw on lessons learned from that campaign?
Thank you for the question. Indeed, it's very, very, I'm not saying similar, but again, Islamic State going into population and trying to hide there, and how do you uproot them from them? By, again, trying to minimize the effect and hurting civilians. This is not our intention. And yes, we are considering all options. We are looking at these kind of things. As I said, Defense Secretary of State is coming to Israel now, Austin, and I believe that there are talks. I cannot talk to you about the military plans. This is not the venue to talk about what we are going to do, but we are going to go to war, and we are going, I hope we can also draw the lessons of what was successful with these kind of things. I do not know about engagement on these kind of things, but we are getting good advices from our friends in the world, and we seek for the solidarity and support for us in our really toughest time ever. Thank you.
I think I'll do that. Thank you.
I'm with TBS, but I did not invite Shigenobu-san. It may be interesting to find out how it happened. But
Please do.
So my question, I've got two questions. I hear reports that the land operation is imminent, and how could this be possible with all the hostages being held? Is there any opposition from the home countries of the hostages about the operation? And my second question is, so do you consider the airstrikes by the Israeli force and its resulting collateral damage to the Gaza civilians acts of war crime? If you consider it not, why wouldn't Israel join the International Criminal Court and tell the world with solid proof that bombing Gaza is not a war crime?
Thank you. Regarding the first question, and first of all, thank you for saying about this crazy thing. I'm sorry of hosting her, but maybe you can check in TBS what happened. Operational tactics and strategy of Israel will not be discussed here. If it's ground or air or sea or what we're going to do. We are going to carry out everything we can in our power to uproot and demilitarize Hamas, to take from him their military capabilities. How we do it, that's a problem. This is what we are considering in order not to make casualties that are of people uninvolved, children and women. We do not want it. We will not. I want to say something. This is not a matter of revenge. People are saying Israel is revenging. No, 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 no. It's not revenge. How can you revenge 1-year-old baby that they shot him in the head? What is the revenge for it? There is no revenge for it. This is just a war and an operational strategy of Israel to eliminate Hamas of its power. That's what we are going to do. To kill innocent people is not something that we want to do. This is not revenge. You don't slaughter people. You try to protect innocent people. They want to live also free and happy. But you have to do, democracies have to defend themselves. Democracies have to defend themselves against terrorism. You cannot accept it, and we will not accept it. And this is going to be a statement also not for us, also for the free world, the democratic world and others. No, no, stop it. And you will pay prices if you do it. There will be no mercy for the terrorists. The issue of the hostages, not hostages, I'm sorry, the kidnapped people, are a serious one. And we address the international community, and international community calls. Today there's going to be a Security Council session for the Hamas, for immediate release of them, unconditional release of them, all of them. Hamas has committed not only war crimes, crimes against humanity. And we are trying to defend ourselves. And if before an assault, an attack of Israeli airplane in Gaza, we are saying to the building or the place that we are going to hit, listen, civilians, go out. We want to target only the Hamas. Of course, the Hamas is, some of them are running with the taking off their uniforms and going with the children, holding children even. Because the child has to protect you. First you kill children, shoot them in the head and burn them, and rape them, raping children. This is what they did. And then you take your own children for the Palestinians and hold them like this to protect yourself, like a human shield. Which war crimes? Where are the war crimes? The war crimes are committed by Hamas, crimes against humanity, things that in days you will see that are unimaginable. Cruelty that no human being can do, and they did it. Israel has the right, the full right, the moral right to stop it once and for all. What the world has done to the Nazis should be done to the Hamas now. They assassinated millions, 6 million of my people, and in the world, executing them. They did the same thing now. So what do you want from us? Which human rights you gave to the Nazis? Thank you.
Thank you. Lady in the front, thank you.
Hello, I'm Kana from Nikkei. My question is about Iran that you mentioned before. And you said that the Iran might be behind Hamas. You didn't say that, but you accused Iran for that. You condemn Iran. But Iran actually denies that they are behind Hamas. And some countries like the US or France agree with that, think that they're not behind, that Iran is not behind this war. So what is your or the government of Israel's opinion about this? Thank you.
For years now, thank you. For years now, Iran was funding, arming, and training Hamas. Just before the attack, they met in Tehran. All of them, Hezbollah and Hamas and Islamic Jihad, and they met also in Beirut. And now they said they are not involved. President of Iran praised this heroism of Hamas. Really nice heroes to go to kill innocent people. This is heroism. Iran is funding Hezbollah and supporting it and sending to Hezbollah, to Islamic Jihad, and to Hamas. The Hamas terrorist organization is a proxy serving Iran's goals regarding Israel. Iran does not even call Israel by its name. It's called as the Zionist regime. For them, we are not even a state, and we don't have the right to live in Israel. This is why they tried to have nuclear weapon and the means to launch it against us. And again, Tehran has expressed the pride and support for it, and they have been benefited from what happened, because what they did now, you asked me about Saudi Arabia. So they want war. They want to destabilize the region. They want bitterness, and they want clash between Israelis and Arabs. This is what they want. This is the strategy. They don't want to have peace. And they called before, even to Saudi Arabia, don't have peace with Israel. And encouraging Hamas for what they did. Please look at what President of Iran said just a few years ago, on the October 10th. I praise the warriors of Hamas. And the Revolutionary Guards from Iran are meeting them, giving them the funds, giving them the trainings and everything, and the support they need. Let's listen at the UN, what will the Iranian ambassador to the UN will say today. Ask him. Are you condemning it? Or are you thinking that murdering innocent Israelis is good to do? Is the right thing to do? Ask him. If it goes along with the Charter of the UN. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the floor? Yes, in the front here.
Hi, my name is Mara Bhajan from the Japan Times. Thank you for your presentation today. I cannot imagine what you're going through right now, and I think it's sort of thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I have two questions, if that's okay. Sure. So the first one is, so at this very press club, later today, there will be a press conference of the representative of the Permanent General Mission of Palestine. And so my question is, are you communicating with the Palestinian Authority in any way, either here in Japan or in the Middle East? And if so, what conversations are you having? Here we're talking, obviously, the Palestinian Authority, not Hamas. And my second question is, from what I understand, the stated objective of your government is to eradicate Hamas. Now, obviously, that is a huge challenge. But say that you manage to achieve that and eradicate Hamas, then what's next? What happens in Gaza? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your questions. We wanted the Palestinians to control Gaza. This is why we left Gaza in the first place. Unfortunately, the Hamas took over and killed the Palestinian Authority officials and took over. I don't think that Hamas is a friend of the Palestinian Authority, on the contrary. And we wanted the Palestinian Authority to control Gaza, and to stand by us, like we are coexisting in the West Bank, right? Because the Palestinian Authority, they have to be against terrorism, and we are cooperating even in security issues and humanitarian issues. 150,000 more of it. Workers are coming every day from the West Bank because we want their economy. We are supporting Japan efforts in Jericho, in the Peace Park, Peace Corridor. We are supporting the international community, bringing aid and we want to revive the Palestinian Authority. And I believe that there are contacts with them now in the region. I believe this. I'm not saying for it, but because I think we have also interest to make sure that the West Bank is calm. Unfortunately, the Hamas doesn't listen to Abu Mazen. Hamas wanted to assassinate Abu Mazen. They tried to assassinate him, and we saved Abu Mazen. So that's the complexity of this. I expect the Palestinians to condemn this terrorist organization. This is terror. To go and to shoot children and women and men and execute them, or soldiers that are sleeping in their bed, it's terrorism. There is no other definition. Call it terrorism. Because I want to tell you something. If Hamas can eliminate Israel, this is what they want, as I said before. This is the strategy, to eliminate Israel, to kill all the Jews or to throw them to the sea. They will come for the Palestinian Authority the next. All right? They will do the same thing they did in Gaza, they will do in the West Bank. Now, regarding the exit strategy that you spoke, what we want at the end, I believe that people in Israel are talking about this and thinking about this. I do not know what will happen next, who is going to be the day after this war, who's going to be there. The Palestinians or others, or I don't know. I do not know now to tell you. I'm not sure that nobody knows exactly what we want. What we do want is the one that will control Gaza at the end will not launch any terrorism against us. That's the only request we ask. Don't launch terrorism. Don't kidnap our families. And don't engage in wars or sending buses to be exploded. That's the only question. Let's live side by side in peace and security. That's the only request of Israel. But we are not going to appeal, because on the other side, nobody listens. How can you appeal to Daesh? You remember that you appeal to them. Please don't kill our citizens. Please don't kill the journalists. Please don't do it. Did they listen? They didn't. And they executed them. And this is what Hamas is doing right now. So sometimes the words ended. Talking has fulfilled itself. We've done talking now. We've done talking since 2007. 17 years we were talking to them. Stop, don't do it. Take the fuel, take the oil, take the food, take the gas, take whatever you want. Just stop it. Don't engage in war. You don't have Israelis there anymore in Gaza. You don't see them. Why do you do this? You want to be free. You're going to go to Japan. You're going to fly. Let's do it, but let's live in peace. So it's not a political issue. They're saying, no, Hamas. We are not going to rest until you are going to be off Israel. And unfortunately, since 1947, the partition resolution of the United Nations, Resolution 181, the Palestinians rejected the offer, the resolution of the UN. The Jews accepted it for partition of the state, for two states, Palestinian Arab state and a Jewish state. But the Palestinians rejected it. And now they are saying we are not for UN resolution, but they rejected it and waged a war upon us with 5 Arab countries. And since then, they have repeatedly rejected all opportunities of peace. Oslo agreements. After Oslo, we got the buses blown by Hamas. And in 2000, Arafat and Barak met. And we gave, this was a Clinton proposal. It was on the table, a very, very good deal to sort this thing out once and for all. No. 2006, again, Olmert and Abu Mazen. No. Always rejecting. Always not taking the right decisions. Always saying, sorry, but our people should go back to Tel Aviv, to Jaffa, to Haifa, to Akko, to Beersheba. And where will the Jews be? We don't care. So you told me that you will talk afterwards with the representative of the Palestinians. I don't know, to blame us always for war crimes, for rejecting peace. We rejected peace, or you rejected peace? Abba Evan, the legendary foreign minister of Israel, said once, the Palestinians have never missed an opportunity to miss an opportunity. Always. There were leaders like Sadat, president of Egypt, leaders like King Hussein of Jordan, brave leaders of the Arab world today that are saying, enough with it, enough with war, let's do peace. Unfortunately, I didn't see it from the other side. Only blaming and blaming and blaming, and this is what's happening now. And I'm telling you that if we deal with Hamas, it'll be good for the Palestinian Authority and the Palestinian people in Gaza that were hijacked and kidnapped by Hamas.
Thank you. Any more questions from the floor? Thanks.
I'm Sashi from TV Asahi. I want to ask you about the departure and the leaving of foreigners and Israelis from Israel. According to some reports, the Japanese government has arranged for the chartered plane for Japanese nationals to leave Israel. and maybe the chartered plane will departure on the 14th. What do you think about this? This is first question, and the second question: maybe there is a possibility the other countries may implement such moves in the near future. What do you think?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the second question.
There is a possibility other countries may like a same policy or do same moves
By charter flights?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think about? Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Foreign Minister Kamikawa, as I said, spoke yesterday with the Foreign Minister Eli Cohen. I spoke about it with Vice Minister Okano-san about this. We do understand, and we are looking very seriously for the conditions of Japanese citizens. I don't have any information on Japanese citizens in Gaza Strip, but I can assure you that we are going to treat Japanese citizens in Israel the same as we're dealing with the Israelis, to be protecting them, and also if they want to be evacuated, we will assist. So I didn't know about this charter plane tomorrow, but of course every assistance the Japanese government will ask us, we will going to provide it. So we are going to help, and if people would like in this time to be evacuated back to Japan, we will assist it. And it applies also for other citizens. You have to understand, once the foreign citizens come to Israel and stay with us, getting a visa, either if stays for long or as a tourist or working or whatever, we are treating him like us, like Israelis. We will give them the same protection of Iron Dome and other facilities that we can protect him, and of course shelters, and letting them know that if he's in trouble, we will assist him. And if they want to leave now foreign citizens, we will provide any assistance possible.
Thank you. We're just reaching 12 o'clock now. There are still some questions from online. Do you have time, Ambassador, for one or two more? The first one goes back to the outbreak of this, I don't know what to call it, the latest situation.
Terror attack. That's it. It's a terror attack.
Yes. So this is from Ilgan Yorulmaz, who works for BBC Turkish. She said, Mr. Ambassador, could the recent divisions among the liberals and the religious conservatives in Israel have somehow absorbed intelligence resources and contributed to the security vulnerability in Israeli society that resulted in your being unaware that this attack was about to take place?
Thank you for the question. Indeed, in the last year, there were political unrest in Israel. Democratic, very, I will call it vivid process and debate, very harsh debate. But I think that what we have to do now is something else, not focus on this and not connecting it to this, because this is, I think that the problem was, we had a problem with intelligence, we had a problem of operational activities, and the army of Israel, the IDF, admits that there were problems. They failed in their task of protecting the civilians of Israel. We will investigate it. We will make sure that it will never happen. But now is not the time. Now is the time for war. And in war, we have, all of us, the Israelis, we established yesterday a coalition government, a unity government between left and right and center, and to show the strength and the solidarity of Israelis one to each other now. Now there are no debates anymore. And we hope, of course, that after this we will investigate and we see what happened in the failure of intelligence and protection of our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. She has one more question, which is, what role do you expect other countries in the region like Turkey or Qatar to play in potentially helping to resolve the situation?
Thank you. I know that President Erdogan is also engaged with the situation, and I know maybe Qatar and others. I expect from the international community, all of it, to demand immediate and unconditional release of the kidnapped Israelis and foreigners to Gaza, immediately. To publish exactly where they are, what's their condition, to give them medicines, to give them what they need. And I expect the international community to demand Hamas immediately to put down its weapons, to stop these terrorist activities, to just lay down everything. Now, if you ask me if it happens, I doubt, because they will not listen. So this time, other than the international pressure that's going to be applied on Hamas, should be applied on Hamas and Islamic Jihad, we will use the other tool, which unfortunately is our weapon.
Thank you. Any further questions from the floor? If not, I think we'll close the session. Thanks very much indeed, Ambassador, for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. Arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you.
Please remain in your seats while the Ambassador leaves the building.